Book of Heaven. Volume 9. The 1st of October to the 3rd of November 1910. Page 46 to 52. October 1, 1910. Love for Jesus forms the transformation of the soul in him. Having received communion, I felt all transformed in blessed Jesus, and I said to myself, how can one maintain this transformation with Jesus? And in my interior it seemed that Jesus was saying, my daughter, if you want to be always transformed in me, even more, to be one single thing with me, love me always and you will maintain your transformation with me. In fact, love is fire, and whatever woods are thrown into the fire, small or big, green or dry, they all take the form of fire and convert into fire itself. And after these woods have been burned, one can no longer discern which wood was one and which another, neither the green one nor the dry one can see nothing but fire. The same when the soul never ceases to love me. Love is fire that transmutes the soul in God. Love unites, its flames invest all of the human operations and give them the form of the divine operations. October 17, 1910. As much love and union with Jesus as the soul has, so much value her sacrifices have. As I was in my usual state, I was praying my loving Jesus for the happy transit of a priest, who had been my confessor years before, and I said to my beloved Jesus, remember how many sacrifices he made, how much zeal he had for your honor and glory, and then, how much did he not do for me? How much did he not suffer? On this point you must render him to us, by letting him pass even into heaven. And blessed Jesus told me, my daughter, I do not look so much at the sacrifices, but at the love with which they are made and at the union with me that they have. So, the more the soul is united with me, the more I take into account her sacrifices. If the soul is more tightly united with me, I take great account of her littlest sacrifices, because in the union there is the measure of love, and the measure of love is eternal measure, which has no end and no boundaries. On the other hand, with a soul who may sacrifice herself very much but is not united with me, I look at her sacrifice as that of a stranger, and I give her the remuneration she deserves, a limited one. Imagine a father and a son who love each other. The son makes small sacrifices, and the father, because of the bond of union of paternity, of sonship and of love, which is the strongest bond, looks at these small sacrifices as a great thing. He is triumphant, he feels honored, he gives all of his riches to his son, and dedicates all of his attentions and cares to his son. Now consider a servant, who works all day long, is exposed to heat and to cold, is at the command of his master, and if necessary, stays up even at night on his behalf, and what does he receive? The miserable remuneration of one day, such that, if he does not work every day, he will have to starve. Such is the difference that passes between the soul who possesses union with me and the soul who does not possess it. While he was saying this, I felt I was outside of myself together with blessed Jesus and, again, I said to him, my sweet love, tell me, where is this soul? And Jesus, in purgatory. Oh, if you saw in what light he is swimming, you would be amazed. And you say that he is in purgatory, and then you say that he swims in light? And Jesus, yes, he finds himself swimming in light, because he had kept this light in deposit, and in the act of dying, this light has invested him and will never leave him. I understood that this light was his good works done with purity of intention. October 24, 1910. Disturbance and its effects. Everything comes from the fingers of God. I was highly afflicted because of the privation of my lovable Jesus, and having received communion, I was lamenting because of his absence. And Jesus told me in my interior, my daughter, sad things, very sad things are happening and will happen. I was frightened. So, various days went by without Jesus. I just heard him repeat often, my good daughter, patience with my not coming. Later I will tell you why. So, I went on embittered, yes, but peaceful, when all of a sudden, I had a dream that saddened me very much and also disturbed me. More so, since not seeing Jesus, I had no one to whom to turn in order to be surrounded by that aura of peace that only Jesus possesses. Oh, how a disturbed soul is to be pitied! Disturbance is an infernal air that one breathes, and this air of hell casts out the celestial air of peace, and takes the place of God in the soul. Fuming with this infernal air in the soul, disturbance masters her so much that, with its infernal blow, it makes even the holiest, the purest things appear as the ugliest and most dangerous. It puts everything in disorder, and the soul, tired of this disorder, is soaked with the stink of this air of hell. She is annoyed by everything, and feels boredom for God himself. I did feel this air of hell, not inside of me, but around me. Yet, it did so much harm to me that I no longer cared that Jesus was not coming. Even more, it seemed to me that I didn't even want him. It is true that the thing was very serious, not a bagatelle. It was that I had been assured that I was not in a good state, therefore the sufferings, the visits of Jesus, were not will of God, and I was supposed to stop it once and for all. I am not saying everything about it, because I don't think it is necessary. I wrote this only to obey. Then, the following night I saw water pouring down from heaven like a deluge, such as to cause great damage and bury entire towns, and the impression from that dream was such, that I didn't want to see anything. In the meantime, a dove, hovering around me, told me, the moving of the leaves, of the plants, the murmuring of the waters, the light that invades the earth, the motion of all nature, everything comes from the fingers of God. Imagine if your state alone should not come from the fingers of God. So, when the confessor came, I told him everything about my state, and he told me that it had been the devil in order to disturb me. I remained a little bit more peaceful, but like someone who has suffered a grave illness. October 29, 1910. The 3 weapons to defeat disturbance. As I was in my usual state, it seemed that Jesus made himself seen for a little, and I said to him, "Life of my life, my dear Jesus, during these past days I have been disturbed, and you, who have been so jealous of my peace, have not had a single word for me in these past days to give me that peace which you so much want." And he, "Ah, my daughter, I was scourging and destroying cities and burying human lives. This is why I have not come on this day of respite, for then I will take up the scourge in my hand once again. Immediately I have come to see you again. You must know that if I did not reward the things done with purity of intention, the upright works, and everything that is done for love of me, I would fail a duty of justice, and all of my other attributes would remain obscured. Therefore, these are the 3 most powerful weapons to destroy this poisonous and infernal slobber of disturbance. So, if the necessity to chastise should force me not to come for a few days, and this air of hell wanted to invest you, put these 3 weapons against it: purity of intention, work of victim, upright and good in itself, and sacrificing yourself for me with the sole purpose of loving me, and you will defeat any disturbance and will cast it away into the deepest hell. And with your indifference you will turn the key so that it may no longer be able to get out and molest you. November 1, 1910. The consummation and the unity of wills forms the supreme unity. Continuing in my usual state, blessed Jesus came for just a little and told me, "My daughter, the supreme unity is when the soul reaches such tightness of union with my will as to consume any shadow of her own will, in such a way that it is no longer possible to discern which one is my will and which one is hers. Then my will becomes the life of this soul, in such a way that whatever thing it may dispose over her as well as over others, she is content with everything. Anything seems to be suitable for her. Death, life, cross, poverty, etc. She looks at all of these as her own things, which serve to maintain her life. She reaches such an extent, that not even chastisements frighten her any more, but she is content with the divine will in everything, so much so, that it seems to her that if I want something, she wants it too, and if she wants it, the Lord does it. I do what she wants, and she does what I want. This is the final breath of the consummation of your will and mine which I have asked of you many times, and which obedience and charity toward the neighbor have not conceded you, so much so, that many times I have surrendered to you by not chastising, but you have not surrendered to me, to the point that I am forced to hide from you in order to be free when justice forces me and men reach the point of provoking me to take up the scourge in my hand and chastise the peoples. If I had you with me, with my will in the act of scourging, I would probably have fallen short and diminished the scourge. Because there is no greater power in heaven and on earth than a soul who is totally and completely consumed in my will. She reaches the point of debilitating me, and she disarms me as she pleases. This is the supreme unity. Then, there is the low unity in which the soul is resigned, yes, but she does not look at my dispositions as her own things, as her own life, nor does she delight in my will, or dissolve hers in mine. This one I look at, yes, but she does not reach the point of enamoring me, nor do I reach the point of going mad for her, as I do for those of the supreme unity. November 3, 1910. The soul, paradise of Jesus on earth. This morning, blessed Jesus made himself seen in my interior in the act of cheering himself and of relieving himself of the many bitternesses of creatures, and he said these simple words, "You are my paradise on earth, my comfort." And he disappeared. Deo gratias.